Okay, another rant from Ella. Now, I could easily entitle this video my response to Günter Grass, or rather my defense of Günter Grass, the writer in Germany. You know, there's a big hoopla about it now, and many Americans have no idea whatsoever what this is all about. Well, let me fill you in on a few things here, okay? Günter Grass is a very prominent German writer. I mean, you know, probably one of the literary giants of 20th century in Germany after World War II. And he wrote many novels and many novellas, all of his writing. And if you have not read any of his writing, you can't even talk about the man, okay? Because you don't know what his writing is about, for one thing. So because of the single poem that was published, because he spoke out, presumably against Israel, which wasn't even against Israel. Basically what the man was trying to say is, okay, you know what, people? Let's try to avoid World War III here, you know, with all this goddamn aggression all around. And yes, he did finger Israel in that poem. He did say, yeah, you know, Israel is on the aggressive stance. And now, because he said this, all of a sudden, he is being labeled as anti-Semitic. This is absolutely ludicrous on its face, and I'm really pissed off about this. And this isn't about Günter Grass, by the way. You know, he has my highest respect for his writings because he has always stood up for justice. And he was one of the few writers who was actually self-reflective in a sense. In other words, self-examining, you know, his own past, his own involvement in all of this. I mean, here he's being accused of being in the SS as a 17-year-old, when he was the one who actually disclosed all this shit. Okay? So it's not as if somebody else discovered it and he was hiding all the stuff. No, he, after many years, had this internal turmoil. Okay? And he said, you know, I need to come out with this because as a young kid, as a 17-year-old, I was drafted into this organization. I was, you know, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was all gung-ho about it. And he reflected on his own actions, other than our own fucking politicians, which are now criticizing his own disclosure of this fact. This is what is so infuriating, totally infuriating, because there is no self-examination on the part of politicians criticizing this guy anywhere. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. There are politicians far and in between who have actually said, look, this is way over the top here, you know. This guy has written some really, really, really good stuff in terms of diffusing all this tension, all this warfare. And that's what he tried to do with this poem, for heaven's sake. This guy doesn't want another world war. He's already seen one of them, first up and close. And you need to read some of the shit that he's written. It's not, you know, hoochie coochie stuff. So for anybody to claim that the Günter Grass is anti-Semitic, it's just fucking ludicrous. Completely ludicrous. But the bigger picture here is, and as he pointed out in one of his interviews, you know, for which he was also trashed, by the way, it was like, okay, well, the entire corporate press in Germany and here is completely against him. They won't even recognize any sort of, they don't address what he had to say, they address him. They address his Nazi past as a 17-year-old boy, okay, which could apply to any soldier here, by the way, in the United States. You know, you sign up, willingly sign up, by the way, for your imperial project. And then you find out later, you know, after your best friend's limbs have been blown off, oh, well, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. And you start to have PTSD, okay? PTSD. And you start to realize that you've been fucking used. And this is the kind of person who's spoken out about this stuff all along. And now he's being trashed in the international press for speaking out against the Nazis. And not only is he being painted as an ex-Nazi, no, he's also being painted as an anti-Semite now. I mean, how much more ludicrous can this whole entire affair get? This is a man who fought for, you know, for his entire life, during his writing life, for some sort of justice. And as I say, it's not about him. All he's trying to do, he's not trying to catapult himself out, you know, making himself famous. He's already fucking famous. He doesn't need the fucking fame. He's trying to point out to people like us, okay, that it's not about fame. It's about averting the next world war, for heaven's sake. This isn't about him. This isn't about him at all. I mean, why would somebody like him trash his own reputation and career simply by speaking out? By speaking out and pointing out the wrongdoing of the Israeli government towards their so-called subjects. There's something really wrong in terms of this entire picture. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand the predicament of Germany, you know, being the instigator of the Holocaust, basically. Yeah, there is much guilt and much responsibility on that part. But to excuse another calamity, this time by the Israelis and their right-wing government, which is essentially no different from the German government, well, to some degree. It hasn't gotten that far yet. But it is the same mindset, this oppressive mindset that, you know, you're not going to tolerate dissent. No, we can't have that. We're going to oppress everybody in our path because you don't agree with us. And this is going on within the Israeli parliament, I might say. The people who support peace in Israel itself are being marginalized. It has nothing to do with being Jewish or anti-Semitic or anything like that. It has to do with fucking humanity, of making some concessions to other people who whom you may not like, whose opinions you may not agree with, but, you know, it's like, whom do you want to crush next? And this is all that Grass was saying. So it shouldn't come as no surprise that a secular humanist like Grass would say something like this. And for the American press and the Israeli press, the right-wing press, by the way, not, you know, it's not universal there, but for them to trash this guy after all his contributions in terms of pointing out the absolute horror of the Holocaust is the height of hypocrisy. The absolute height of hypocrisy. And I'm not, you know, okay, I need to calm down, but it's just wrong. It's just simply wrong. You know, two wrongs don't make a right. I'm sorry. And yes, you know, we can't have an eye for an eye because it makes every person fucking blind. And this is essentially what Grass was saying. Read his goddamn novels. Read what he has written. And then tell me